Oasis Audio presents The Sweet Shop in Bar Harbor, Secrets in Maine, Book 5, by Amy Rafferty, read for you by Anne Richardson. To Roslyn, Nikki, Chris, and Franklin, thank you for your support, friendship, and inspiration. Chapter 1. Marli Rivers hurriedly moved about her sweet shop kitchen, her senses on high alert as she tried to work around the charred floor. The lingering scent of burnt wood and the disarray left by the recent maliciously set fire served as a constant reminder of the chaos that had plagued her life lately. She glanced at the clock, feeling the pressure of time weighing heavily on her shoulders. In just a couple of hours, she was expected at her aunt's house for a family gathering, and she still had so much to do to fill a large order. Marli was juggling the bubbling caramel she had on the burner, its rich aroma filling the air alongside a pot of chocolate that had slowly begun to melt. Marli had tuned out the world around her because she had to work quickly so she wouldn't burn the contents of either pot. The caramel was almost ready to be spooned into the smooth, dark chocolate when the shrill ring of her phone shattered her concentration, making her jump and splatter caramel onto her hand. "Shoot!" Marli hissed, dropping the spoon onto the holder next to the stove and sucking the burn on her hand. Marli glanced at the screen displaying an incoming call. Seeing that it was her cousin Hope, and knowing that if it was urgent, Hope would have sent a message first, Marli promptly pressed the decline button and returned her attention to her confection on the stove. The phone rang again alongside the tune of the shop's doorbell. "Use your key, Hope," Marli muttered, thinking it could only be Hope, as no one else knew she was there. The shop's lights were out and the sign on the door read closed. Ignoring the ringing phone, the doorbell, and the red stinging stain on her hand, Marli scooped some of the caramel into the chocolate as the doorbell rang once again, startling her. This time the caramel landed on the stove and started to char. Marli grabbed the chocolate off the stove, turning off the burner beneath it so she could clean the goop when the caramel on the other burner reached its boiling point, rapidly turning into a sticky, smoking mess. Smoke billowed through the kitchen, and Marli's new oversensitive smoke alarm started to scream. "Ah!" Marli grunted. Wanting to get to the smoke alarm before it brought the fire department to her shop, Marli grabbed the caramel pot without protection. "Ow!" Marli dropped the pot and it clattered onto the floor. She jumped out of the way as the pot bounced on the tiles, and she turned to grab a dish towel to pick it up. The shrieking fire alarm echoed through her head, which was starting to throb. Marli reached to turn off the burner as she heard the crash and splintering noise of shattering glass coming from the front of her store. She spun around and her heart jolted with fright as a tall, sandy-haired figure burst through the kitchen doors and hurtled toward her. "Marli!" She barely heard the shout over the fire alarm as something hot licked the soft skin of her arm. Marli pulled away from the pain and turned to find the source of it, her eyes widening when she saw the dish towel she'd grabbed was on fire. She immediately reached for it, but before she could grab it, a strong arm clamped around her waist, lifting her and turning her away from the stove. The next few moments went by in a hyper-speed dazed blur. Marli found herself dumped on the sink next to the flaming dish towel, doused with a jet of water from the faucet attachment. While that jet put out the flames from the towel, her arm was yanked under the faucet on the adjoining sink. "Stay there and let the water run over your arm." Marli frowned as the barked command popped the bubble of shock she was in, and the cold water felt like a knife slicing through the flesh of her forearm. She pulled her arm from the water but quickly put it back under when the sting turned into a painful burn. Marli's gaze locked on the tall man grabbing a footstool to get to the alarm and switch it off.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?